Hey, everybody. I am here with Jason Ginsburg, the author and creator of Fake Theme Park. Fake Theme Park is on Twitter currently, and there have been books there. I mean, Jason, you've been doing a ton of different things, and you have a huge theme park background, so you know all of the ins and outs of, what could be funny, commenting on current theme park news as if your theme park or your fake theme park is going through the hellscape of whatever is happening in real life. So, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here, and let's get right into it. Yeah,
Sure. Thank you for having me.
yeah, absolutely. So, I think the big news. We'll start right off the bat. We'll get the elephant out of the room. You announced. Maybe some people didn't realize it was an actual announcement because you can never tell with fake theme park that you are ending the account. You've been doing this for how many years, man? You're ending it now?
Closing in on 12 years, and it has been 12 actual years. I posted, at least on Twitter. Facebook came along a little bit later, every day for 11 and a half years. And people may think, well,
Wow.
he doesn't literally mean every day. I do. I mean literally every single day since July of 2010.
That's a big commitment. So what made you want to stop it then?
It is still fun. I want people to understand that I'm still having fun. I think the followers are as well. It I want to end it before it stops being fun. For one thing, I don't want it to kind of just sort of peter out and no one cares anymore, and I don't care about it. It kind of just dies of slow, quiet death. That seems sad to me. So I do want to go out, maybe not on top, but close to the top. Also, I was a tour guide at Universal Studios, and my last day in a uniform giving a tour in the park was spring 2008. So
Okay.
before I began
Yeah.
the account, so it's getting to the point where I'm not sure I'm most qualified to make jokes about the theme park industry, especially about the inside, about the employee's point of view. So I feel like I can give that baton to someone else. And I'd like to, use that time on other things. I do write on the side. It'd be nice to have even more time to write and to do other things because not only do I just post every day, I respond to people. They play with me. We have a back and forth. I actually, you mentioned create actual content. I've written 2 songs. There's a music video. So it's not just, 280 characters a couple times a day. So I'd like some of that time back, to be honest. It's been a fun
Yeah.
hobby, but there are other things I could do at that time.
So it's about having more time for yourself. And you mentioned that you're a writer, and I've read a couple of your fake theme park things where you've published the tweets and long form and in a book. What do you plan on writing? I mean, what can your fans look for next?
I write all kinds of things on the side. Occasionally, I get paid for it.
Oh, always the
I've read
best.
articles. I've read articles around the internet. Most recent one was about the Universal Studios monsters. As a matter of fact, I just can't escape that company. I
Yeah.
also write for screens or any size screen you can think of. My first produced screenplay is now streaming. It's on Tubi and Vudu, and I think it's coming to Amazon, I believe. That I was hired to write a series of films in this sort of low budget fantasy universe that someone else created. It's not my work at all. I was just a hired writer. The first one it's called The Age of Stone and Sky. Is the franchise? The first film was called The Sorcerer Beast.
Mhm.
The voice of the beast is Corey Feldman, and one of the supporting characters is Jeffrey Combs, who I know from Star Trek. So that may uh, presage more films from this producer. I've written several more scripts. Hopefully, they all get made. I have web series I've done for Playboy, for National Lampoon, for Science Channel, Home Shopping Network, and I'm just always trying to sell something, a web series, a TV show, a movie, to all the various venues there are these days.
Yeah, well, there's quite a lot. You have a lot to choose from, I guess. Are the days of Netflix gone where they'll accept anything and just let you pitch, and then all of a sudden you have a series? Well done. So
Yes, there are plenty of streamers out there that are have a lot of content
yeah,
a lot of content budgets to spend.
yeah. Jason, are you based in California? Is I mean, you mentioned the backlot tour at Universal, so I assume, but you should never assume, I suppose.
No, a good question. I actually was born and raised in Dallas, Texas.
Hmm.
I went to school in LA at USC and studied theater and film there. I was trying to kind of make it more as an actor at the time, and my day job was the Universal Studios. So one of the great things about the tour in particular is they let you leave for auditions. You can leave and come back. Even though it's a union job, you actually can do kind of your union amount of tours, your maximum, and either then leave or do a few, do your audition, and then come back and do the rest of your tours for the day. So the whole department when I was there was stand-up comics and actors and musicians and people in the arts who wanted something beyond going into theme park management, which only a few of us did. So I was there for in LA for close to 20 years, then moved out here about a decade ago, here being New York. I'm in Manhattan. You may hear 9th Avenue occasionally outside my window. But yeah, I live here with my wife and a cat in Hell's Kitchen.
Wow. Okay. So Hell's Kitchen, pretty cool place. Actually, my sister just moved to Brooklyn, so that's fantastic. So I go
say hi.
Yeah. So let me ask you. Getting back to Fake Theme Park, let's swap sides. Poof. There. Now I can look at you. It's where you are. So when I fell in love with Fake Theme Park, where all of these inside jokes, because I too. I worked in the parks. I worked at the Backlot Tour, but in Florida at what was then the Disney MGM Studios. That was my first gig ever in a theme park, and rose up through some of the ranks there. And now I'm a professor. I teach theme park design and management. But I get like every single reference that you post, and then it's always related to something else that's happening. Whether it's some rides being shut down or something catching on fire. And, I think my favorite, though, was the creation of Princess Snowflake and the world of Frozen, that's, gone into your world. I mean, over the years, I mean, are there any things that, have really been standouts for you that you're really proud of, coming up with these fake stories?
Yeah, the princesses are always a hit. Not that I take much credit for inventing the idea of them, and I try to stay away from the easy joke of, oh, the princesses hate children, or any of the characters hate children, and that's the go-to thing. Even back to even like Krusty the Clown on The Simpsons. I get it; that's a funny trope, but I try not to make the most easy, obvious joke, especially not for 10 years. That won't be very, very sustainable. So Princess Rainbow, who's the main princess, Snowflake is kind of her rival, came on the scene, and they have this sort of frenemy, friendship, nemesis.
My apologies. I didn't.
No,
well, I mean, I did know, but I kind of forgot.
Only one of them has the biggest castle, that's for sure.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
People love interacting with them and talking about them because it is so much. I think it illustrates the dichotomy between what's on stage, as I guess you would say at Disney, what the guests see, what the image is portrayed, and then what the reality behind it. That it is, again, not to be too cruel, but just some young woman who's either trying to break in acting or paying her way through school, and this was not necessarily her dream. And if it was her dream, well, still she's going to age out of it at some point and let her go on to something else, either some other princess or maybe a queen eventually.
Why not?
Yeah, that makes sense. You can sort of age into different parts of the park. So they are a big hit. I'll say that I'm happy that has been sustainable, but not that I really invented the idea, to be honest. But people still love talking to them and about them, and they do play a large part in both the books and the music. One, I wrote 2 songs. Only one became a music video, and that is the Theme Park Princess song. It's about being a real life theme park princess in the real world, in working in a theme park. What that is like for a woman.
I worked at Disney, so we always use the term friends of princesses. Have any of them reached out and said, "Hey, you remind me of your job," or anything, or your work reminds me of my job? I mean, or is it too close to home for them, or?
Yeah, I don't know. Not that department, but so many other departments have. I will be honest. I intended this account for the general public. It was a comedy writing project to get me writing jobs, to get me attention, and look, here I am on YouTube talking to you. I think that's another reason maybe kind of call it quits. I've done as much as I can.
Well done.
But what I found is it's the employees that really responded, particularly on Facebook. Those comments, people are tagging each other and discussing their experiences and their inside jokes that I don't get. I'm not sure who they're just talking to each other. In my comments, I have nothing to add to that. So it seems like I've really touched on something, as you mentioned as well, that there is this experience everyone has had. It comes from a place of joy. This is not It's not Angry Waiter. It's not Hotel Confidential or whatever, where people are trying to get back at their old employers and dealing with the public. This comes from a place of love. I love Universal. I still do. So I think the employees understand this kind of love-hate relationship they have currently or had as former employees with their park. Not just Disney. I try to include SeaWorld, Six Flags, obviously Universal, even some of the smaller parks around the country. So I've not had a princess talk to me, but certainly all kinds, every department has reached out to me at some point in the last 10 years.
So that's it's amazing that it's been for 10 years and you found content for a comedy writer. I mean, the theme parks have kind of been comedy gold with the ridiculousness of some of the events that have happened, but you've also, I think, alluded to some other political events that have happened over the years too that are outside of the theme parks. I mean, what seems to work best for your audience? Just being as a comedy writer in general. I mean, how do you look at that? What's your approach to writing the jokes?
Well, I have obviously my own experiences, and my wife as well. I should mention her. My wife is a fellow former tour guide.
Well, where is she? She should be on this too.
She has helped with jokes. She's edited the books. She's one of the books is dedicated to her. You'll see her name a lot, Wendy Felton.
Okay.
So between the two of us, she actually did go into management for a couple of years, had a few different jobs than I did. I had multiple roles at Universal. So our experiences together. But FakeThemePark is on Twitter, so I have an incoming feed as well. So I get the same news that you're all seeing from the same blogs, from the official accounts, the travel sites. I follow the Orlando Sentinel and the LA Times, places like that. So I'm seeing what's going on and can jump on something timely. So if they announce that, the cruises are back, I can go, all right, cruises are in the news. So what's the park cruise version of this? So people often, I try to overlap with reality because it's an easy joke of what's happening in the news as opposed to just, Chaos Coaster is on fire again. That's evergreen. That's when I'm really struggling. That tweet goes out. If something's actually happening in the news that I can jump on and make fun of, people seem to appreciate that. So I do aim for that kind of thing.
Yeah. Chaos Coaster. I mean, clearly these are all, tropes of, different types of coasters in the parks and everything. But did you have anything in mind, for some of the rides? Are there real life counterparts to, I mean, some of them are pretty obvious, but are for everything or just something?
Not quite. Yeah, I'm not trying to poke fun specifically at Disney. I mean, you say theme park in this country, maybe even around the world, people think Disney. And I worked for a good long time in the shadow of that park. Universal was constantly following. I think maybe a turning point came, maybe you didn't ask this question, but I think the Harry Potter, where Universal maybe took the lead, or at least was neck and neck. For so many years, Disney would raise their prices, Universal would do it the next week. It was clearly following the industry iconic leader. What are you going to do when you're Universal in LA and you have Disneyland to compete with? But to answer your question, what was your question again? That often happens. As a
No, that's life. I'm happy that you're having fun. I'm loving this. No, I guess what I'm wondering is, are there any attractions specifically that you really did create that really do have a real life counterpart?
Yes, that's right. So all the names are jokes. They're all alliterative. So Volcano Voyage and Ocean Odyssey and things like that. Just because those are just fun. Why not? It's an easy joke. I mean, I think Dinosaur Domain is my version of Jurassic Park, which I dealt with at Universal a lot. I guess the Chaos Coaster is every coaster. I too have Haunted Manor, which I guess you can probably figure out what that is. Vikings of the North Sea. You can guess what aquatic raiding peoples that is making fun of. So I have that. And of course, there's a backlot tour. Which has its
backlot tour is a backlot tour.
Yeah, what can you do? So occasionally it's too easy. It has to be a water ride because everyone knows of Splash Mountain and Jurassic Park, so that's easy. But otherwise, I just sort of make up silly things that happen. And there was one, the Dracula's Doom Dome is always under construction. It's never been finished. It's always about to open. And then Megamania.
Why? When is it going to finish? You're ending the account without it ever opening? I mean, this is a big letdown.
Maybe
come on, man.
Building codes are tough thing.
Building codes. Oh
Walls
dear.
might come down, but when the walls come down, some blogger will cover it. Boy, when walls come down, that's a big deal in the blogosphere.
Oh man. Yeah. No. We. Why do we build the wall? Build the wall. Nope. I can't sing that. Otherwise, the Hadestown people will come
I
after
guess
me.
that's yes. One show I did see before the pandemic shut it all down.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, we just got demonetized because I. So no, that was a great shows. It must be nice to be in New York though. You'll see more shows, I assume. Enough.
Yes, it's the one. You know, and a corollary to that is what isn't there a lot around here is theme parks. So another reason I feel unqualified is I don't go to parks anymore. In
What are you
LA,
talking about? You can go to Nickelodeon Universe across the river there at the was it the giant mall that's about to go bankrupt? The American
yes,
Dream. That's what it is, right?
yes, oh right, and there's
Yes.
the Legoland in somewhere upstate.
That's
As
a brand
well.
new park. I've heard
Yes,
really good things about that park. I generally don't go to Legoland. I'm a little, I don't have kids, and I'm not quite the right demographic. But I've heard really good things about that park. So
it's
yeah.
funny though the attractions here.
Hmm.
Some of the rules are the same. One thing I did at Universal was I made announcements out front. There was an information booth. Maybe it's still there. And actually, they gave me a microphone. God bless them to make announcements to people about what tickets to use, what window to go to. General, just welcome to the park, which is a lot of fun being out there at that booth. And one thing I constantly had to say was, don't get in the first line you see. Look
Mm.
around for a shorter line because everyone has a herd mentality of here's the line, the line for tickets. Not that there's 30 windows at this major theme park, and so seeing that happen at say the Met, where there also are people lining up for tickets. So here in New York, it's the same mentality, maybe a different kind of experience people are going to have once they walk in the door, but they're still Americans. They're still people that
Still lining up for
it's
tickets.
very funny to see.
Yeah, yeah. No, I actually really understand that because, like I said, I teach. My area of expertise is queuing theory. So I understand queues way beyond most people, and yeah, having multiple points of service with multiple queues, it's actually highly inefficient because then you have to have someone like not to put you out of a job, Jason, but then you have to have somebody say, "Oh, go to the shorter line; it's over there." So the best way we talk about is having one queue, and then it's just go to whichever window has opens up, and then you put out a little bell. I actually have a bell, and then you ring the bell, and then it goes back in, and then people go to that window, and just that ding works, and it's an interesting system, but that's uh, I've been to I think it's a Guggenheim actually. Everything's outside, uh, and you have to wait outside in a line. You have to have a ticket on your phone now, and then you go inside. It's a heck of an experience. But man, it's difficult to get inside if you don't have admission ahead of time. So
Yeah, and the
um,
pandemic has limited attendance to these kind of things as well. I think you're right.
yeah, yeah. When the pandemic first started, I I think I mean you did say Fake Theme Park was shutting down for a while. I think at some point, but didn't it come back or how did
Yeah,
that work?
it was the
Yeah,
strangest thing in the world. I mean, I had, as I keep saying, and you point out, my account reflects reality. It doesn't reflect every single event that happens in every park,
yeah.
but I lean on that, and people seem to appreciate it. So every park around the world closed. So there was no way for me to pretend like, oh, Chaos Coaster's on fire again. Like, no, that's not going to do. So it gave me, I'm trying to I'm sort of ambivalent about this, an opportunity to write all kinds of new jokes.
Yeah.
I've been doing it already, for 8 years at that point, 9 years. So it was time to bring out new kinds. So I talked a lot more about, say, movies that the park rides were based on, things that were still happening, and of course the attempts to reopen, which I think I have an archive that Twitter provides, and I can
Hmm.
see what has performed the best on Twitter, retweets, likes. And
Right.
the COVID ones from like spring and summer of 2020 are the highest performing.
No
Make
kidding.
that what you will is like of all time of the idea of reopening. I thought was reopening was a terrible idea that the parks reopened too soon.
Oh, that's
History will
crazy.
decide. People seem to agree with me.
Huh.
So yeah, I consistently did well as I just made fun of we are closed, made fun of mask policy. I mean, what else can you do except make fun of these things? That's all there was in the theme park world.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's. It's been a breath of fresh air, though. Looking back on it, I think people needed to laugh. That was the biggest thing, was trying to find ways to laugh. I remember when all the late night shows, shut down, and that's when I built this whole set and everything. It's just everyone has their own way of coping with things. I'm like, well, I'm going to make my classes really interesting, so we're going to have puppets. I modeled the whole show after the Late Late Show with Craig Ferguson. Actually, I mean that's why I have a skeleton and other random props that end up in this thing. And it was so fun, and people still tell me, hey, when are you going to bring back the show? It's been a while, So I guess my question for you, and what this is leading to, is you're going to take a break. Maybe you'll come back, right? We kind of hope.
Well, how to answer that? The accounts are not going away. Twitter, Facebook will still be there. You can watch the music video on YouTube anytime you like. Obviously, you can always buy the books,
Yeah.
which I would very much appreciate. I do occasionally get a bit of income from various things like the merchandise that I just recently started. But it has to end. If I don't end it, it will never end. If I go back and occasionally do things, people ask even me for interviews after the fact, and I feel like I don't even want to promote it after it's over. Otherwise, it won't be over. It's just, it's just me. And so my mentality has to be, it is done. Feel free to go back and scroll until your computer stops refreshing. I'm encouraging that. I want it to stay up forever. I don't want it to just vanish from history, but I feel I will do other things, maybe even on Twitter. There's this whole new thing called TikTok that came along after I started the account.
Never heard of it. Nope. Nope. Not at all.
That YouTube obviously is sort of the more normal version of TikTok, I guess. I will definitely do something. I think people are really dying for my comedy, but I just don't think I can. And let's be honest, there are a few other theme park comedy accounts out there that people can possibly get their fix from that. So it isn't like I'm the only. I was the first, but not the only. And so there's similar ones, although this is not in my.
There's going to be a fake amusement park next or something.
Just hit Disney more directly, which is fine. If they want to do it that way. I don't. I want to make my own interactions, my own characters that I can do whatever I want with.
Yeah. So would you ever consider, I guess, since you don't want to do the account, would you have, other writers who are working, aspiring comedy writers who happen to be, put into a job into a theme park, to have them, work on the account in your absence or something like that?
It's interesting. I've gotten offers. I really have since I first announced, and the answer is no. It is so closely tied to my brand, if I can use that term, just to my name. It's in Google searches. And I was putting it on resumes when I was looking for social media jobs. It's really in my voice, really is my creation. Again, it's not just like a general Disney parody. It's my characters that I created. So I don't think it really ever can go in anyone else, because then what if they start doing it wrong? Then what do I do? Any say in it all? So I feel like it would be too complicated. Again, people are free, and Twitter's free. You can start your account as long as it's not infringing on me. Give me any jokes about Disney, Universal, and SeaWorld that you want. You don't need my imprimatur on it. I'm not anything. So people have offered, and I'm very flattered. They wanted to continue so much that they want to do the work themselves even. But I don't think it can. It really is. It's over a decade of my life. So it really is just mine.
Well, I have to respect that, because when something really is that close to you, you don't really want to, give the reins to someone else for fear of, them tarnishing your legacy, if you call it a legacy of comedy and theme parks on Twitter, I suppose. But it is your legacy at this point. But, you're going to have a lot more things that will hopefully be around the corner for you in the future. So, gosh, well, I don't know if I have a whole lot of any other questions, but Jason, it's been great to see you. We've been going for about 20 minutes and everything. Thank you so much for coming on the show, and hopefully we'll see you again in the future. So do you have any other accounts that you'd like to talk about or link before your time is through?
People are free to follow me, little old boring me, on Twitter. I'm just at Ginsburg. I got in the social media game very early, so I got my last name, Ginsburg.
Smart man.
There's comedy on there, but also, talk about football and things that are important to me. Be warned. But there's a decent amount of Universal and Star Wars and Marvel and things that people who like theme parks might enjoy. My own website as well, jasonginsburg.com, if you want to see the few things I'm working on, like the movie that just recently came out. But otherwise, keep enjoying the accounts as long as you can. Don't forget, there's YouTube. There's 2 songs on there, one of which is a music video. You can buy the songs on iTunes. And I finally realized I can actually make even more money than the very small amount by having an actual merchandise store. So on Redbubble, you can look for Fake Theme Park and buy a Princess Rainbow for President button, Fake Theme Park shirt, some basic items like that. So if you have enjoyed Twitter and Facebook for free for 10 years, perhaps a small token of your appreciation in buying a book, a pin, something like that would be very nice.
Well, I'm absolutely going to do that because I've really enjoyed it, and you've given so much to us. And I hope we see you more. Maybe stand-up comedies in your future in New York. A lot of comedy clubs. Who knows? But well done. Thank you so much for being here, and we will see you again hopefully very soon. I'd like to check up on you and see how you're doing in maybe a year's time if you come back on the show later on.
I'd be happy to come back, Bill. Thank you. Yes.
That is fantastic. So, Jason Ginsburg, everybody, thank you so much. If you enjoyed this, please definitely give it a like. I'm going to try to bring back and do some more interviews with people in the industry. So, subscribe and ring that bell for notifications, and we will see you in the future. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.